Hey everybody, it's episode 380 of PodQuest.
Hey!
Deja vu.
Yeah, a little bit. It's Wednesday, November 24th, 2021. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Oh, not too bad.
You know, it's nice to get out of a 12-hour workday with only a 7-hour workday.
Yeah, that's...
Well, it was like 7.5.
I mean, 12 hours is still a lot.
It is, and the thing that sucks is it's not overtime. Because I had off on Monday and I'm off tomorrow, so technically I won't have 40 hours worked, so it's not overtime.
Oh.
Most
Yeah,
companies do it that way. Most companies do it that way. Normally I'm fine with working 12 hours, especially with what I have to do, except for when I'm not working 40 hours.
Yeah.
So like yesterday when you worked till like 9 o'clock or whatever, and then today you worked, you already clocked out for today?
Yes.
So like, you're not losing any hours then, right?
Well, no. They're paying me for the 2 hours today, so I'm not losing any hours. I got 4 additional hours yesterday.
Oh, okay. So it's not like they weren't trying to even out the overtime. You're actually keeping all of the overtime.
No, yeah. It's the entire company got to leave, not just me.
Oh, nice.
Or at least everyone except maybe the call center.
Still, that's not bad. That's not bad.
No, it's only the second time it's happened in my over 2 years of working here. Or not over, close to 2 years working here. So.
Really?
Yeah.
I've gotten to leave work early twice this month.
Yeah, you also got a paid trip to Tennessee.
Yep.
From work. And
a bonus this month.
All I got was on Labor Day weekend, hey guys, we made $10 million this quarter. You can leave 2 hours early.
Yeah, that's no good.
No, not at all. But yeah, other than that, I'm fine. We have Thanksgiving tomorrow, so it's nice.
That is true.
Yeah, tomorrow being Thanksgiving is, I was off today, and I'll be off until Tuesday, because I took off today and Monday.
Nice.
I wish I took off Friday, but I have to work on Friday. It's so dumb.
My company is closed on Friday, so like we're off Thursday, Friday anyway, so I took off the Wednesday and Monday to give like an extra long break.
Yeah, no, I would do that. I would have, like, since I knew I was going to take off Monday, if I knew I was also off on Friday, I would have taken off just Monday, Tuesday.
Which, I don't blame you. Right.
No.
So, just for what it's worth, it looks like the website is working again.
Awesome. Little BTS for everyone who's listening right now. Yeah, our site was down temporarily because we're moving what is it? We're moving hosts?
Moved everything away from our old host. Our old host was just a piece of garbage. It cost me $8 to move the domain, and everything else, like the renewal was coming up for everything, so it's like, might as well just do it now, cancel the renewal from the other place, get it onto a platform that, like, actually updates. Because the platform we hadn't updated PHP in 2 years, and it was so
nice.
out of date that every time I logged into the WordPress admin, it yelled at me telling me, hey, your PHP is super out of date, you should fix it. And whenever I would reach out to the host, they'd be like, oh yeah, no, we don't do that. Like, if you want to do that, you have to upgrade to a higher cost hosting. I'm like, well, fuck you guys. Like, wow. That's not happening. So
yeah,
seriously.
I moved to a platform where it's the same cost and is more reliable.
Yeah, definitely. Makes sense.
And
Really
now,
make sense.
Now at least, it also let me move. Like, I moved the domain away from them too. So like now I have the domain in the same place as PodQuest.club.
Oh, I forgot about
PodQuest.club.
Yeah. It renews like once a year, and it's only like $12, so I just keep letting it renew.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Why do we do PodQuest.club?
It was just like a random domain I bought at one point because
Okay.
it was super cheap. I was actually looking at little more how the sausage is made. I was looking at domains for bonus action just to see kind of like what was available. So bonusaction.com taken, not getting that. But where was the one that I saw? So we could buy bonusaction.fun. It is only 99 cents for the first year, and then $30 after that.
Bonusaction.fun. I like that. I like that a lot.
If it wasn't a $30 domain after the first year, I would totally be down for it. But because like 99 cents, sure, like why the fuck not?
Yeah, it makes sense.
But
I agree.
Yeah, can't do that. Like bonusaction.net is actually only $20. It's $15 right now because they have like a sale on all domains. But then it's 20 after that, and even that's like I don't want to do that, but I could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, bonusaction.fun if anyone wants to buy it for us and point it at our site. I'm not going to complain.
No, not at all. Anybody who wants to help out our sites and help us get more exposure, go ahead and do that. We appreciate it. Share all our socials. As long as you're not a dick, go ahead and we support you doing that.
Oh, you know what? So we could keep the trend alive and do bonus-action.com. It's only $18.99 a year. Or bonusactions.com would be $18.99 a year also.
Bonus action.
I don't like that.
No, I wouldn't do that, but I'm just throwing out there some stuff. Regardless, I don't know what the fuck happened, but it seems to have resolved itself. And Rich, what's on the agenda for tonight?
On the agenda for tonight, Cobb, you got to go to Anime NYC this past weekend.
I did.
Then we're going to have a sequel to our State of Decay discussion from last week with my State of Decay discussion for this week. Because I played it after you guys told me about it. Then we find out that Epic has purchased Harmonix. I'm fully caught up with the exception of Superman and Lois on the Arrowverse. All I have is the first episode of Flash, which literally just aired last week, so I'm fully caught up.
What about Supergirl?
That has not come on Netflix, so I'm fully caught up to what I can be caught up on.
Okay.
And then Cobb, you're gonna talk to us about some more Mobile Suit Gundam SEED. Then Ridley Scott is an old ass man, and we're gonna talk some book club with Giant Beastcast.
Yeah, that about sums it up. So this past weekend was the 2021 edition of Anime NYC up at the Javits Center in New York City, as you'd guess by the name.
Mm-hmm.
It was significantly bigger than it has been in previous years.
Huh.
They actually, I believe they sold out of all badges on Thursday. So the convention was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they were sold out of badges on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe they have actually ever sold out of badges before. I don't know if they had a lower limit than they have before, but the place was definitely incredibly crowded. And they don't, so the very first year that we went, they didn't have the whole expo floor, so the different sections were actually split up between different areas of the convention center. But since then, they've had the whole expo floor, and they basically have it broken up where 2/3 of it is expo floor with normal booths and stuff like that you'd find in a convention.
Right.
And then half of the other third is autographs, and the other half of that last third is artist alley and food.
Okay.
Because that's it. It was very weird, but not necessarily bad. It ended up working all right, it seems. But they basically, along one side of the convention hall, they lined it up with food stalls selling mostly Asian food dishes, and most of it was actually pretty good.
Nice.
I had a Peking duck bun, a pork bun, but with duck inside of it instead. It was very good. We had scallion pancake things that were fresh made that were delicious. And a lot of the places were either food trucks in New York, or they were restaurants that also do catering stuff like this in New York. So that was cool, but that led right into Artist Alley, which was definitely the biggest Artist Alley they've had so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it was spaced out pretty well, but it unfortunately also looks like we lost Drew. It looks like it dipped, or not dipped, but one of the entrances led right into it, and that entrance happened to be off an escalator. So it just it got very crowded in the middle aisles near the front of it.
Okay. Yeah.
But they had a lot. Drew, you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
No, he's not.
They had a lot of stuff. Yeah. Can you not hear him?
I don't hear him.
I can't hear Richie.
All right, guys. We're gonna pause real quick. No one's gonna stop recording. Why don't you guys both just refresh your browsers real quick?
It might just need to be me. Let me do it.
Okay.
Oh.
Can you guys hear each other?
Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
I can see his waveform.
Hey, problem solved. All right, so we're back. We're good. I'll try and remember to cut this out. It's 11:40 something.
Nah, keep it in.
So Artist Alley was cool. Drew, you went to at least one Otakon, right?
I went to 3, I think.
Okay, I remembered you being at one, but I couldn't remember how many others. And Rich, I know you've been to a bunch of them. I feel like Artist Alley has gotten progressively more horny over the years.
I mean,
I can't say I remember much, but come on.
I can't say it hasn't been horny over the years. Like, no, it's when you're talking about nerd art, there's a lot of boob art.
Oh no, I mean there is always been, like, it has always been a thing, but I mean there was a whole row that, like, we were just kind of uncomfortable being in. And especially knowing that, like, most of the characters being depicted that way are like 15.
Yeah.
It's like, this is weird and creepy, and y'all need to reel it in a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, they yeah, they do. They definitely, I totally agree they do. It's just, unfortunately, as gross and weird as it sounds, it's just par for the course for anime art and shit like that. Like,
I mean, you're not wrong, and like, I think one of the worst parts is, like, when you're walking around and you see that stuff, and like Eric and I were talking about it as we were walking around. A lot of it, really, really good art. Like, it's very well done, but it's like, I wouldn't, even if I like that character, I don't want that picture of them.
Yeah.
And like, it kind of sucks because, like, so there was one booth that had some Metroid art, and they were really well done, except it never had the helmet on. It was always Samus without the helmet on, and always in a very weird kind of, like, position. Like, it was always that sort of, like, ass out over shoulder kind of look. And even though she's in armor, they were still exaggerating certain parts of her.
Yeah.
And it's like,
this checks out.
Those look really cool if they would just be like, if that person had just drawn a normal ass looking Samus, that would have been great. I would have bought one.
Nah.
But
no, like, I remember at one of the Otakons, I went to Artist Alley, and there was this Kakashi that I thought was really cool, and I bought it. And then afterwards, I looked at it, and I'm just like, I don't know, there's something wrong about this one. And like, it was a lot more different.
Was his dick just hanging out?
No, it wasn't that, but it was like more like they made it more like, as I was looking at it and like the hype of everything going on, like I didn't like inspect it, and it looked like Kakashi in his Anbu, right? Yeah, Anbu costume with his mask, and he was taking it off. But then when I got home, it's just like, this is a lot more sexual and sensualized than it really needs to be, but also a little bit over the top feminine as well for such a masculine character. And
yeah.
But it's like, why is this so sexualized? It's a ninja wearing full ninja armor, getting ready to fight as a ninja. Like, why?
Why wouldn't that be sexualized, really?
I mean, Kakashi is a hot piece of ass, so, like, I totally agree with you on that one. But still, like, why do you have to sexualize that?
Because.
Yeah. Like, I also don't get that. That said, like, yes, there was plenty of kind of cringe. There was some stuff. If I could have gotten a good picture, I would have taken a picture of it and posted it on Twitter. So Drew will appreciate this more than you will. Somebody did these pictures, and it was all, even the non sort of like creepy stuff was very well done. But they had these hyper realistic pictures of Wario and Waluigi.
Okay.
From the neck down. So, like, their heads still very much looked like Wario and Waluigi. Little more realistic than cartoony, so that it fit, like, the body.
Right.
But they were both on these, like, ripped-ass, like, muscular bodies with, like, no shirts. I think at one of them, it was Waluigi with, like, a big bulge in his pants, too.
Of course.
Like, just kind of, like, leaning back. And I'm like, I kind of want to just snap a picture of that and post it on Twitter and tag Dan Reichert in it to let him know that anime is where he belongs. But like, it was one of those things where it was behind the booth and like above the person, and I didn't want to be like that person taking pictures of their artwork.
Right.
But there was also a lot of really cool art there. Like, we bought a handful of things. There was one person that did these, you might have seen, like, people have posted similar like styles on like Facebook where they'll do like time-lapse video of them doing, where they'll do like some sort of outline of something like, memorable from like a series. And then inside of that, they will like paint like a scene or whatever. So we got two of them. One of them it's Howl's Moving Castle. So it's the shape is the castle. and then inside of it is like a picture of a scene from the movie with like you can see like the characters and stuff like in there, and it's really cool looking. And then the other one is a similar idea, but it's the One Piece Jolly Roger symbol, like where it's the Jolly Roger but with the hat on top, and then it's got like silhouettes of the characters in like a sunset inside of it. Yeah. So like those were cool. By some miraculous turn of fortune, there was some dude there who actually had 2 Turner Gundam prints that were also really good Turner Gundam prints.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought both of those immediately because it's like, well, fuck. Like, I really like that show. I've never seen anybody do artwork for it before. It's a 20-year-old show at this point. Like, what are the fucking odds? So
you're to be like coincidental, I guess. I don't know. Like mentioning Turner Gundam, you're not the only one who like in any sort of media I've heard discuss Turner Gundam over the past like 3-4 months. There's a YouTube show I watch called Drawfee, where it's a bunch of artists. They talk about stuff while drawing different random things submitted by the viewers. And at one point, I think it was on that show, they started talking about Turner Gundam and how ridiculous.
Oh, it's ridiculous, but in the best way. They may have also been listening to the Great Gundam Project, because that's what got me watching Turner Gundam. So it's from a podcast group thing called Abnormal Mappings. They have like a Patreon. For $1 you can get the Great Gundam Project, which is a weekly podcast where every week they talk about 2 episodes of the series, and they're working their way through every piece of Gundam content. So they started with the original, and they are now up actually today the last episode covering Turner Gundam released. So they're doing the weird live action movie, and then they'll be on to Gundam Seed after that.
Nice.
But this past season, I actually ended up listening to it because Austin Walker ended up being a permanent guest for this whole season.
Nice.
So I had seen him tweet about it like right as the first episode released, and I'm just like, it's only $1. Fuck, I'll sign up for $1 and check this out. And ended up I really liked the podcast, and like that show just ended up being fantastic. But yeah, they might listen to that too, and that's maybe they are helping to revitalize Turner Gundam and make people understand that it is quite possibly the best Gundam.
I mean, it's not G Gundam though. Like,
I mean, look, G Gundam is good for a whole other set of reasons, but like as far as a quote unquote traditional style of Gundam that's really more anti-war than anything else, Turner Gundam is the best Gundam.
Okay.
I will accept no alternatives. But yeah, so Artist Alley was really cool. We got a couple other prints and things like that. Talked to some people. A lot of cool stuff there. They had one guy that he makes like different like pins, like metal and enamel pins. And it sounds, from what he was saying, he like kickstarts them. And when he does a different set, he'll kickstart it, and then he'll do like stretch goals for different things. So at some point he had kickstarted all of the Evolutions, and the stretch goal was to do shiny versions. So he actually has a full set of every Eevee and every Evolution with their shiny variant.
Nice.
That I think it was like $5 for a pin, or that he was selling little like blind bags for like $10 that just had 3 random ones in it.
Okay.
So Erica ended up buying one of them because like they were really well done pins. I wish I will find business cards for some of the places I'm talking about, and because we were grabbing cards from everybody, and I will post them on the show notes here. A lot of it went up. Erica posted a ton of stuff on Instagram too. So if you go to Instagram.com/1_quest or at 1_quest on Instagram, you can see there's a bunch of posts from like different stuff that we saw at the convention.
Yeah, I do want to go out there and say, fuck shiny Evolutions and Eevee, because they look gross.
Some of them weren't bad. I like the green Espeon, Espeon.
Espeon is green with purple. He's maybe the only one that's fine, but like, and Umbreon is blue and black. But the rest of them, like the green Jolteon, they all just look sick, especially Eevee itself.
Yeah, I don't like the green Jolteon, but most of the other ones I'm fine with. They're just like paler versions of them.
They're duller colored, which to me, I'm like, they all look sick. Like, what is so, like, why would you want a Pokemon that looks sick? It's gross.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you're not wrong on that, but they were still really well done, and like they were pretty cool looking. Other than Artist Alley though, the expo floor was very much like a normal ass anime expo, or like a normal like expo floor for a convention. Only similar to what we saw at New York Comic Con, there were no major anime or manga people there. So,
Really?
So this convention is partially sponsored by Crunchyroll. So they had a booth there. But like Crunchyroll doesn't sell anything. They just have like a booth to like advertise for the service. In previous years, Funimation has had like a big booth there with just Blu-ray sets everywhere. So you can like look through things and like other merch too. They didn't have anything. Viz wasn't there. Shonen stuff wasn't there. Like, but both of them, Viz and Funimation, had giant booths at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, I'm gonna go right out and say I'm inclined to think that maybe because of COVID and everything, it was more profitable for them to be at one and not both.
I imagine you're right, and they probably figured New York Comic Con was bigger, so they would have more potential foot traffic. But I feel like Anime NYC was big enough that having that demographic that's actually there strictly because they're into anime probably would have seen a better... But
no,
like...
absolutely. And also, like, well, I don't really know if there's been any other major conventions between Comic-Con and when was Comic-Con? That was at the end of September, right?
Beginning of October.
Yeah, so it's really not been that long. I bet you they probably could have saved a lot of money if they just kept stuff over here and been ready for both conventions. But I don't know how big other conventions might have been that they went to other places instead.
Yeah, and so I don't know if like Funimation and Viz necessarily have been at other conventions, but from talking to a couple of the artists, they've been at shows every other weekend, or in some cases every weekend. Mm-hmm. So like there are definitely other big conventions going on around the country. Like I know like Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, I think is actually like next week.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the other really big ones. Like that's one of the really big West Coast ones. And they are actually I think it's actually this weekend is San Diego Comic-Con like special edition that they're doing like in person in San Diego. It's not going to be as big as like the traditional one is, but it's going to be like an in-person show. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like so the expo floor was like your normal like vendors selling a bunch of like weird niche stuff. Again, similar to Artist Alley, bunch of booths that literally have like 18 plus signs all over the place and lots of things, lots of pieces of paper taped over things to hide inappropriate details.
Yeah.
But also like a lot of t-shirt vendors, a lot of plushies, a lot of Funko Pops. Mm-hmm. Even though it's an anime convention, you also have a lot of people selling like random action figures, and there was somebody that makes custom soaps. That was a different one. There was that one booth, Rich, I'd taken a picture of for you that was selling all the Pokemon cards at outrageously marked up prices.
Outrageous prices.
Dude, there was one pack, and Rich, I don't know what that pack was. Maybe you can specify. But it was like this white pack. I think it was like the 25th anniversary one. It was marked at $400.
I don't really know what it was.
It had the 25th anniversary like Pikachu logo on the side. But like $400 fucking dollars for like basically a blind box of Pokemon cards.
Yeah. So Ultra Premium Collection, I guess is what they're calling it. Celebration, because it was like it had the slash cross, like a clear slash across the one side, and it was the big Pikachu face with the 25. I'd have to look at it again, but yeah, it's like the Ultra Premium Collection. It's for their 25th anniversary for their celebrations. TCG Collector is pricing it at $305. I don't really know what it is. But yeah, that's obnoxious. $400 for that thing.
Yeah, like just outrageous. But yeah, they had a bunch of other cool stuff on there. For whatever reason, they had like a weird they had dueling car shows basically. Mm-hmm. So in two different sides of the convention center, they had DJs with a bunch of anime wrapped cars, mm-hmm. and they were two different companies. So I know they weren't like it wasn't just the same place like split across, but it was neat looking. I only went to a single panel. There were like 3 that were literally all at the same time that I thought about going to, I ended up only going to one. Rich, I don't know if you're familiar with it, and of course the dog's barking now. It's called Loud, Annoying, and Very Annoying. Hang on, I'm going to close my door real quick.
That's such a timely name right now. No, Ben's fine. Or Kaylee, whatever one it was. But no, I've never heard of this anime. And doing a quick search while I guess Cobb is still coming back.
And I'm back.
That box, I just looked it up. At GameStop was retail $120.
Oh wow!
It's not available at GameStop anymore. But let's see, 2 commemorative metal. What's in it? Which it probably has enough in it to make it worth $120. 2 commemorative metal cards featuring base set Pikachu and base set Charizard. Special gold version of Pikachu V. Special gold version of Pokeball. Stunning Charizard and Pikachu enamel pin. Metal Pokemon coins. 17 celebration 4-card boosters. 8 additional Pokemon trading card packs. 3 storage boxes. So let's see, 8 packs is about $6 a piece. So that's, what is it? 8 times 6? It's 42? Right?
48.
No, 48. Then you got the 17 celebrations, which I would put those at maybe $2 to $3 a piece, because there was only 4 cards as opposed to 11. So let's just go with 2 for $34 on top of that. So that's $90 right there, right? $80 right there, plus everything else. So $120, reasonable. $400, not.
Yeah, not even a little bit. But yeah, so that panel I mentioned, annoying or loud, annoying, and very annoying. They shorten it to lava because why the fuck not, right? So it's 3 voice actors. It's Ray Chase, Max Middleman, and Robbie Damon, and it's basically it's an audience interactive improv session, and they definitely just have a lot of fun with it. They do like different like improv games. One of them was basically like it was called Walkin' with Walkin'. So 2 of them do Christopher Walken impressions and like act as Christopher Walken together on an adventure, while the third one like is like the omniscient narrator. And the 2 that are doing Christopher Walken leave the room. The other person asks for a series of things from the audience. So it's like a weapon and a secret and a fantasy enemy, or a fantasy beast and a mythical beast and like a few other things. And writes all those down, and then as the 2 walk-ins are basically like improving, like throws those things out. So like the weapon was a sword made of bread. They found a treasure that was just a single cheese curl. They had their fantasy beast was a unicorn, and their mythical beast was Danny DeVito. So like it was just goofy shit like that, and they just kind of had to roll with it. The secret was that one of the 2 was actually a pillow. So like they leaned into it really good. It was really funny. They did they also did a dating game sort of thing where they actually pulled up 3 couples from the audience and had them like basically play the dating game. But these 2 girls went up and they basically asked if they could role play, and they role played as being Phoenix Wright and Apollo Justice, or not Apollo Justice, Miles Edgeworth.
Okay.
So like all of the questions they answered as if they were those characters, while the other two couples actually like were just themselves. It's very funny. None of them did very good. Like they were asked things like, what would their persona be if they were a furry? And this one poor guy, he fucking said elephant. Like,
oh god. And
I think it was that same guy very, very like confidently when asked who like his partner's like favorite character was, basically just said himself. And then like when the girl came back out, definitely didn't even like almost consider him for a second. So it was very funny, and like the 3 guys just like leaned into it really hard, especially when one of the questions was favorite voice actor.
Okay,
and like
yeah.
When that got asked, the one guy pointed at somebody on stage and said, "What was his name again?" and said him. And then when his partner came back out, she said she literally said the other guy that was on stage. So it was very funny. They got extra points for that one just because 2 of them found it very funny and the other one was a little hurt.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, Like, so,
I just followed them on Twitter. I found them loud, annoying, very annoying. They're a Twitch show and live stage.
yeah, so they apparently like stream games and stuff like that. Like I looked at their Twitch, like they've played like Fall Guys and stuff recently.
They tend to play games that one of them is in some way. Like I was
that makes sense.
I was going through their Twitter, and both Robbie and someone else is in Halo. So they're like, "Hey guys, since I guess half of the crew is in Halo, we'll play Halo tonight." Or like, "Hey, since apparently Robbie's in Back 4 Blood, we're gonna play Back 4 Blood," or something like that.
Yeah, and like they all do a bunch of video game and anime stuff.
Yeah,
like Max Middleman is One Punch Man. Like he is Saitama.
Oh,
he has done a bunch of other stuff too. What was the other thing? What was the other thing that I see now? Now I'm drawing a blank. I know he is also the main character in Gundam SEED that I just watched, which I thought was just funny when I went there. But he was also he was in a game or something that while you guys might not have played, you definitely would have known. He is Ryuji in Persona 5.
Okay.
Oh.
That's what it was. He's also done like voices in like Fallout 4, Diablo 3, Halo. Like Halo 5. All of them probably did a random voice in Halo 5, I'm sure. But it was a cool panel.
I mean, the only game that I played Diablo, but I don't remember any of the voices in Diablo. The only game that I really played in that list that you gave me, I would not be able to say if I even met the character that they would voice because it's Fallout 4, and fuck if I know if I met that person's character.
That's fair. But yeah, so it was a convention too, so there was lots of cosplay. There was a lot of really good cosplay. I feel like having gone to a lot of comic and anime conventions, but not really having done as many anime in recent years, the anime crowd definitely goes harder for their cosplay.
Oh yeah.
It
seems as if like the anime and general animation crowds go a lot harder.
And I don't know if it's just because anime characters tend to have more elaborate costumes than comic book characters do. So like you see some really cool stuff. Like the people that do like really cool like Iron Man armor cosplays and all, like those are always good. But then you also see a lot of people that like they're just wearing bodysuits and like they look good. Odds are they're bought, but like still like they went through the effort of getting it and wearing it and everything like that. So like fucking right on them.
I think it's also like a lot of comic fans are like the old guard, where it's the older guys and the gatekeepers of the nerd community that's like, you're not real comic fans, and they don't cosplay and they probably hate cosplay. So like in comic conventions, cosplay is maybe a little bit newer than in anime conventions, which is why it's bigger in anime.
I mean that might be the case, but I mean, like, you still, like, there are a lot of cosplayers at, like, Anime NYC, and, like, Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con gets a shit ton, and they're always very elaborate and stuff. And New York does also get some really cool elaborate ones, but I just feel like people, even the ones that, like, weren't as, like, impressively done, like, just the amount of work they took, like, I just feel like the anime crowd just goes a little harder, because a lot of anime characters that people want to dress up as, just, it takes more.
Mm-hmm.
Though this was also one of those things where, like, Demon Slayer, super big right now, a lot of Demon Slayer cosplays. So, like, a lot of people wearing, like, the green checkered robe, or, if they were dressing up if they were, like, a female dressing up, they were, the one bug girl who, I can't remember her name, the one that, like, doesn't necessarily fight with a sword, but, like, does, like, poisons and stuff.
Oh, from Demon Slayer?
Demon Slayer, yeah.
You
know who I'm talking about. She was one of the Hashira.
Yeah,
she had like the white with like the green and purple.
Her blade is super thin.
Yeah, because she doesn't necessarily fight with swords, but like she like does like poisons and antidotes and shit like that. Yeah, her. A lot of her and a lot of Tanjiro. Actually, a lot of Inozuke's too. The pig-headed guy. Yeah. There was one dude that in that costume that was like actually just as jacked as that character is. Like, was just like a fucking wall of muscle. And it's like, man, good for you. Like, you found a good character for your physicality.
That's the one thing. I want to get back into cosplay, but I really, right now, the only thing I can do is fat gum. Because I'm so big.
But hey, so this one, actually, there was somebody that was in a wheelchair. that actually cosplayed as Fat Gum. And, like, they did a really good job with, like, the jacket and, like, the hood and everything like that. Like, they did a good job with it.
Yeah. I would love to cosplay Fat Gum, because he is now my favorite character of all time.
He is good. I think if you ever watch the third movie and you see the Egyptian hero, that may become your favorite hero, though.
Okay.
Because he is a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And he is great. But yeah, so I enjoyed the convention a whole lot. Eric had a good time too. We definitely had a better time here than we did at New York this year. Like, it just, I don't know what it was. Like, this one just felt more like a convention than New York did.
Yeah.
There were some problems, though. Luckily, they weren't problems that impacted us, because we were lucky enough to have press passes to go. So we got to go through a different entryway and all. But the lines were just outrageous all 3 days. I went up on Friday because I was off. And so the convention technically opened at 1 on Friday. I believe they started letting people into the building to get, like, their badges and all if they didn't buy them before the mail deadline at 10. Have either of you guys ever been to the Javits Center?
No.
Back, because that's on the water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, back when it was Anime, New York Comic Con and Anime Fest. It was one and the same.
Yeah, so, and technically it still is. Anime NYC is not that convention. New York Comic Con just doesn't advertise the Anime Fest part. It's in a building like a block away now.
Yeah.
But, so, at the Javits Center, there's, like, this big open area that's sort of, like, below everything, because the Javits Center sits weird. And it's outside, though. There's a little bit of, like, an overpass from where, like, the building kind of stretches out of it. But it's pretty big. It's usually where food trucks are parked during New York. When I got there at about 1:30 on Friday, that whole area was full of people in line, and the line just zigzagged back and forth like 4 times, and then wrapped all the way outside of the gate to the building, down the block and around, to the point where, had I actually had to stay in that line, I probably would have just gone home, because I wouldn't have gotten in before the convention closed. I noticed that there was a little bit of a surge of people coming in around 5:30 when I was getting ready to leave.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, like, on Friday, the floor was pretty empty because everyone was stuck outside. And it seems like they only had a single line and so you had to have a wristband to get in, too, to prove that they checked your vaccine card. So you had to go through a vaccine check, potentially pick up your badge, and also, like, show your badge and like, all that stuff to get in. And it did not go well Friday. It seemed to not go very well Saturday either. Like, we got there a little after 10, when the doors theoretically open to the expo floor at 10. 8 o'clock is when they were supposed to start letting people in to start doing, like, vaccine checks and all. And for Saturday and Sunday, they had actually tried to reconfigure how they were doing it. And they had 3 different lines depending on if you already had a badge and a vaccine check, if you just needed a vaccine check, or if you just needed a badge. So, like, you could get into whichever line kind of corresponded to your needs and just get in. I'm going to close my door again. Hang on, be right back.
I wonder how PAX Unplugged's going to be for that.
As he was talking about that, I just realized my vaccine card is not right in front of me. I hope I did not leave it in my pants pocket when I did my wash.
Oh, no.
What did you do?
Apparently, you can, like, get it online.
Yeah, there are, like, a couple apps out there that you could use.
Yeah, and you just put your information in it, and it'll let, like, because that's registered, whether or not you got your vaccines and your boosters.
Yeah. Like,
it'll have what you have, but I can't remember.
So most of those apps, you need to take a picture of the card.
So Docket is the official one for the state of New Jersey. Absolutely don't need to take a picture of your card.
Oh, yeah, nice. Okay.
It pulls the records from the government.
Yeah, using
nice.
Date of birth and social security number, I believe.
Okay, I have Clear, and that one I had to take a picture of it, but it's accepted a bunch of places, and you can actually do event passes. So, like, New York Comic Con had one, PAX Unplugged actually has one, where, like, it pins it to the top of your thing, and you can just click on it and show them the green thing, and it has a QR code if they want to scan it.
Okay.
I'll have to go out in my car and see if I can find it. Hopefully, I didn't wash it.
Yeah, that would suck. But yeah, so the line to get in was just it was a bad time for people. I definitely heard people complaining about how bad it was too, like that, like it was kind of ruining their time because like they had so little time to be in the convention because of how bad getting in was.
Yeah.
And like every day they were sending emails about like the lines and trying to make it better. So like the convention was at least trying to remedy it, but it just wasn't going super well.
Yeah.
And that stretched through all 3 days. And then the other problem they had is rather than doing bag checks to come into the building, they were doing bag checks whenever you tried to enter the expo floor or where they had panels. So if you were trying to go from like the expo floor to a panel, you had to get a bag check, and then you had to get a bag check to go back in, which created like more lines once you were inside of the building. And frankly, like if you're going to bring a weapon or something like that in, you can hurt just as many people in like the lobby area where there's hundreds and hundreds of people just kind of milling around, eating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like that was also a bad set of planning. Like I know it sucks, it's winter, you don't want to do bag checks outside, but like do what you have to do to like make everything just smoother in the future. But otherwise, like I said, it was a good time. Like, and I'm sure I might have a different opinion had I had to wait in those lines, but at least in this case, like everything that they had going on inside was cool, and I had fun.
Well, that's good. Glad to hear it. It sounds like it was a good time. I didn't even know about it until I saw you guys posting about it. But yeah, it's good.
I mentioned it to you a while ago, but it was like months ago.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah, that sounds like you. But how is State of Decay 2?
So, State of Decay 2. That's a Richie-ass game.
That's exactly fucking what we said.
It is definitely something, like, I started playing a little after 7 o'clock yesterday, and I pushed until about close to 10:30. Every time I was ready to stop, I was like, no, let's do one more. No, let's do one more. And I kept pushing forward and forward and forward more and more and more. Because, like, it's interesting because there's a lot of survival and community building games like, Surviving the Aftermath and maybe even you can kind of count like, what's that game that Eric likes?
Diablo?
No. Civ. Like, you can kind of count Civ in, like, similar to these games where it's like, you're trying to build a community, you're trying to build out an outpost or whatever, but you're also sending people out and doing stuff, and your objectives are survival or this or that or whatever. This is, like, the only game, I guess, besides State of Decay 1, the only game I can think of that brings that aspect of community building into, like, an actual playable thing and not just commanding units and they do it themselves. Which is a really cool concept to me because, like, I do have to worry about my base, but I'm not always going to be sitting there watching my base, and I can't get to my base real fast. So, like, if I get a notification or whatever that my base might be under attack, and I'm halfway across the map, well, I'm kind of just fucked. And that every time, the cool thing is every time you play, you can start on a new map and create communities across different maps that interact with each other.
Oh, I didn't know they interacted. Oh, well, actually, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I did start a second community. I cleared out all the play carts on one map, and I got a reward, like usable call in thing for that, and then I had started a new map, and I still had access to those rewards on the new group of survivors.
Yeah. So I'm sure if you were to leave that map as the survivors of your new map and end up in the original map in the woods, you'd run into your outposts that are already set up. I think that's probably how it works. I'm not 100% sure. I've only put 4 hours into this game. One of my only complaints is the building and base building is so limited.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, okay, I have the materials, I'm gonna build this. It's, you have this plot of space in your base, you can build something on it depending on the size of it. So if it's a large plot, you can build anything. If it's a small plot, you can only build small stuff. And each base at least needs, like, a medic area and beds. So if you only have 4 spaces available, you have to already take up 2 with those no matter the base. So it's like, it's kind of very limiting on what you can do, but at the same time, it works because you can then, like, my current base has a small farm, it has a workshop, an infirmary, and and beds. So I can now get rid of one of my outposts that gives me food daily because I'm getting food daily from my farm, and focus on getting outposts for ammo, building materials, or medical supplies, which I'm looking for an outpost for medical supplies because that's what I'm constantly struggling with. So it does have this really interesting, like, balanced dynamic that you have to figure out what you can build and what your community needs to survive, and what you have as resources around you.
Okay. That seems neat-ish.
Yeah.
Like, not for me, but, like, I understand, like, the enjoyment of it.
It's also, in my opinion, a very good stream game. Like, this is a game that I can see myself streaming a lot on, because it's, like, it's not super serious. There's not a lot of, like, dialogue or exposition. You can start multiple things, but everything's still connected. And, like, even if I had a lot of viewers, they could suggest to me where I go or what to do, because it's all open. There's nothing linear to it. It's just, hey, go do this. Sure, I got you. I'll go do it. Or if I miss a notification or something, hey, if somebody's sitting there watching, like, you should probably do this because they're telling you to. Like, you know what? That is a good idea. Like, there's so much so open that it is a really good stream game. That I'm probably going to stick with it for a while. At least 3 months. Play it at least once a week for 3 months. If not more often. The only thing I'm most scared about, apparently the game continues while you're not on. Just maybe a little bit. Oh, so it's
like a live game?
Well, so, like, if you log off and one of your characters is injured or hurt or hurting, there's a chance they could die between the time that you log off and the time you log back.
I don't know that that's true.
No, I've been told that some 2 characters are having a feud. Somebody logged off. 2 days later, they come back, and one of them had left.
But, like, I mean, you can, like, actively pause the game while you're playing. Like, it's not the game always runs.
Yeah, you can pause the game while playing, but, like, to give it a little bit more of a survival feel. There are some games that do that, where, like, maybe 12 hours pass when you're not on or whatever. Like, an X amount of time pass.
It's possible.
Yeah, I'm trying to think in my game if, like, anything's happened in the days. Like, there was a few days I did not play, and I don't think anything happened.
Is it possible that there's, like, a setting?
That is possible.
Like one of those, like, oh, I want this to be a live game, I don't want it to be a live game things?
Maybe they were playing on a multiplayer setting, because I looked it up and it says that, like, anytime you log out, the game world stops, but if you have a multiplayer online, then the game world continues with or without you, but maybe they were playing in a multiplayer server. I don't know for sure, but I was told this is what happened, which is both interesting and not. Like, I like that concept if it's true, but I'm also not 100% into that if it is true. Like, it's a 50-50 for me.
I mean, it certainly seems like that would be a fun option, like, but I don't think that is the default.
Yeah. And it supports crossplay. So it's on sale on Steam right now. So anybody who doesn't have it and doesn't have Game Pass, definitely go ahead and check it out. But graphically, it's not that impressive. The zombies seem interesting. I want to see more of them. I mean, I'm sure it's a fine graphical game for, I think it was like 2017 was its original release date.
That sounds right.
But like going into it right now, I'm like, this is a little rough.
Yeah.
Like it didn't really age all that well. But it's fine. It's good enough. Like, it's more the close-up stuff. Everything else is fine. Like, the overworld is fine. It's just like some of the close-up things. And driving is weird in that game. Drew, and you were saying that mouse and keyboard, it's not too great. It's not too great even with controller.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Like, I don't know if you were watching me play, or like if you were noticing it when I was playing yesterday, but I would reverse and turn the stick, and like I'd tap the reverse button and let go, and I'd get a full 180. Just tapping the reverse button. But then when you're holding the drive button, the car sounds like it's about to die while going over hills and stuff. Like, it can go max speed backwards, but going forwards, it's like not good. And like, it's just maybe crossing between Forza and this, like, I'm a little bit more strict on racing games because Forza is such a good racing experience. But yeah, it feels a little weird. But I am excited to play it. I'm gonna play it again tonight. I stopped doing streams on Wednesdays because it's a little too much to do it after the podcast. But today, because I have off tomorrow and we were recording early, I decided to do a stream tonight. And I probably won't play it tomorrow, but I am also, and this is a little tip for anyone who's listening, I don't know what time this actually comes out, I'm planning on maybe streaming like a morning breakfast stream from like 9 to 1, just to see how that goes.
Man, that's breakfast and lunch there, buddy.
I know, but it'll be breakfast for me because I'm not going to eat before Thanksgiving Day, and dinner is at 3. So
man, you got to pregame. You got to stretch that stomach out a little bit so you have more room.
No. See, that's the thing. You stretch the stomach out a little bit to make the room, and then you're eating way too much, and like, or you could just eat like you normally eat, which is kind of how I normally eat breakfast, and then nothing really much till lunch or dinner.
You're ruining Thanksgiving for everybody.
3 o'clock is lunchtime for me. Okay, 3 o'clock is lunch.
Oh, so when you said you were just taking lunch today, that wasn't like an odd thing. That was your normal thing?
Usually I do lunch around 1 to 2 o'clock, but yeah, it was later today than normal. And like I'll probably eat between like 1 and 3, somewhere around.
That's valid, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk a little bit about this Epic Games thing?
So they purchased Harmonix?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently to do music for Fortnite.
Yeah, that's the part I thought was actually really funny.
Like, is that really just to do music for Fortnite, or are they going to be like doing music games and stuff again?
So as of right now, nothing will change about their existing stuff, so they'll keep doing DLC for Rock Band. I can't think of the other game they have, Fluxer or something like that. Fuser. That,
right.
That those servers will stay active. Like, they're not getting rid of any of that stuff. They have no plans to make any new instrument-based games, but the next thing on their agenda is to work on rhythm music-based stuff for Fortnite.
The thing everyone wants.
Our team will work with Epic to create musical journeys and gameplay for Fortnite. Yeah, okay. I'll just say, Sean Appleton, let us know how it is. It's either that or I'll ask my friend's son the next time I see him how it is.
Well, now that you're streaming, why don't you dip into Fortnite?
Fuck no.
Yeah, you want to get those viewers.
Here's the thing. I don't like shooting someone and a 50-foot tower pops up. Like, I need a little bit of realism in my shooters, and I don't like dice rolls behind my shots fired in a live game like that. It's fine in something like Fallout, but not in something like this fucking game. And I can't even remember its name for a second. Fucking Fortnite. Yeah. If you like Fortnite, that's fine.
No, it's not. You don't like Fortnite. Fortnite is bad. No. I'm gonna die on this hill. Fortnite is a shit game. It's not okay to like it.
Look, look, here's the thing. This is like how the Brose podcast works, and this is how we work. If you like Fortnite just as much as if you like Superman 64, that's fine. That is your choice. I'm not gonna yuck your yum. You can like it if you want, but you're wrong. And that's that simple.
I don't disagree with that.
Like, I'm not gonna shit you for liking the game, but I'm gonna shit on the game because it's a bad fucking game.
I mean, like, have any of us ever played I've never played Fortnite.
I've played it. It is a bad game. It is a mechanically bad game.
Yeah,
okay, that's fair then.
I've never played it. I've never really had any interest in playing it. Look, I have a personal vendetta against PUBG for personal reasons, but I've considered playing PUBG before I've considered playing...
Pretty sure it's on Game Pass.
It is.
Is it on... shit.
PUBG is on Game Pass.
The PC version of PUBG is on PC Game Pass?
I'm actually looking right now.
Well, it's on... like, Fortnite is... Or not Fortnite. PUBG is on PC Game Pass. I don't know if it's a PC version or what version is it. It is. But it is... PUBG is on Game Pass.
Because I tried playing PUBG. I'm pretty sure PUBG was a PS Plus game at one point. In the last year.
I think you're right.
I tried playing it on PS4. I did not like how that game played on console.
Actually, it appears to no longer be part of Game Pass. It was at one point. It definitely was at one point. But yeah, it is no longer part of, at least not PC Game Pass. It might still be on console. But yeah, I thought that was very, like, there's not a lot to talk about with the Epic Harmonix thing, but I just thought that was very funny that, like, yeah, you bought the company famous for making plastic instruments, to not make plastic instruments and instead put rhythm games into Fortnite. Yeah. That, like, I feel like, so the demographic for Fortnite, pretty big. Like, the people kind of, like, all over the spectrum play and enjoy Fortnite. But I feel like the core, like, the demographic they're aiming for is still sort of that, like, it still skews younger. And I feel like that younger crowd, A, doesn't know what the fuck Rock Band is, nor do they want to play Rock Band. So, like, what rhythm game are they going to put into this that, like, a younger crowd is going to care about? Are they going to have, like, button presses to fucking floss from now on?
Probably. That's what it's going to be. Like, you floss, you do your little taunts or whatever, and if you do it right, you get a boost. And so they have to do they need a whole new...
It's QTEs.
Yeah, it'll be a QTE to do your flossing. And they need... Because the creator of Fortnite is that bad, they need a whole studio just to do QTEs for flossing.
I mean, I would argue that Epic Games is far from bad.
It's... Like, that's your no, I mean, yeah, Epic Games is far from bad.
They literally make the engine that every major studio wants to use. Like, even the studios owned by the companies that make their own engines, those studios, they'd rather use Unreal.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Frostbite.
Mm-hmm.
But Rich, how about the Arrowverse?
The Arrowverse. I am fully, like I had mentioned before, I'm pretty much fully caught up, with the exception of Supergirl and Superman and Lois. And so far of the 2020 seasons, I would honestly have to say that it's hard to grade which one I liked the most and least. I actually give them a little bit more praise than you do. I enjoyed them a little bit more than you did, Cobb. I thought Flash was good. The only issue is it was too disconnected. It was 3 different stories in one.
And now, so imagine watching that episodically.
Which I can understand. Like, watching it from back to back to back, like it worked a little bit more, so I can understand the episodic, like, disinterest and losing it a little bit. And that's kind of how all of the last season, all of the 2020 seasons were multiple storylines all in one season that didn't really... For instance, with Flash, they could have done the Forces in a full season, or the full 17 season span, 18 episode span, minus the 3 to wrap up the season before. So let's go with the 15 season span should have been just the Forces, and they should have finished dealing with the Forces on the last episode to start with the Civil War in the 2021 season that just started.
Yeah, so I have not started the new season for anything except for I watched the first episode of Batwoman and Legends. But I know, so keep in mind too, you keep calling these the 2020 season. All of these actually ran in 2021 for the most part, because of the pandemic. They were all super delayed. And
it was, they were supposed to be the 2020 season, but it was all, like, it was delayed. It was late 2020 when they came out.
No, they all started coming out in, like, January of 2021. That's what I mean. Like, these were super delayed, which I think hurt it a little bit, too, because The Flash, for instance, the Flash didn't get a proper season finale in 2020 because of the pandemic. They had to shut down early. So, like, it ended without them being able to wrap up most of their storylines, which is why those storylines were then wrapped up at the, like, in the first, like, Mirror Master stuff that was, like, the first half of this season. They stretched out over multiple episodes that would have actually been contained into the last 2 episodes had they been able to finish the previous season.
It was 4 episodes dealt with Mirror Master, and then they had 10 episodes dealing with the Forces. No, not even 10. They had like 8 episodes dealing with the Forces. And then the last 5 or so was just like one-offs, where like Cisco was leaving, or the Civil War with Godspeed. But like this Godspeed Civil War was only 4 episodes long and felt kind of rushed and disjointed, and like I don't know, they could have done a little bit better with that. Also, just throwing it out there that Jay Garrick is still a speedster in this universe is strange, but okay, that's fine.
No, you know what's even stranger? Jay is also in the Stargirl universe.
As Jay? As, like, Flash
As
Jay,
the Flash, yeah.
I mean, that's... Yeah, sure, like, that... I mean, that's fine to have them in both universes, like... Because at the end of Crisis, Jay Garrick was on Earth 1, like, charging the anti... what was it, the antimatter thing, like force field or whatever.
Yeah, and Frank, like, they did exactly what DC did with the comics with Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like, they took all of their characters that were theoretically spread out onto different Earths and put them on the same one. Like, in comics, Jay Garrick and Alan Scott, the original Flash and Green Lantern, were part of Earth 2. Yeah. And after the original Crisis, they became part of Earth 1 and are... now they are back being part of Earth 1 again in the comics. But, like, there was, like, a 10-year gap where they weren't. But that's beside the point. Yeah. So, like, they're doing exactly what they did in the comics. And I just think it's funny that, like, they are also using him for flashbacks in Stargirl. So, Stargirl's a very weird show because it's set in modern times, but then they do these flashbacks that make it seem like the original Justice Society was, like, 100 years ago. But, like, these people are only, like, 10 years older.
Yeah.
So
it's at least like 15 or something like that, because she's like 17, and she is
nobody's actual daughter.
Really?
So she is Luke Wilson's stepdaughter in the show. Luke Wilson was a sidekick to the original Starman, who is presumed dead in the series.
And I thought Luke Wilson married Starman's wife. And
no,
I thought that's what.
No. So. That's what Stargirl thinks, that her dad must have been Starman too, because her dad is, like, out of the picture, but finds out that, like, that is not the case, and it's just this. So, like, they don't have powers. Her power comes from her staff.
Yeah.
And the staff basically chose her.
Yeah.
It's basically the wand chooses the wizard, Harry.
Yeah. I watched a couple episodes of that, and I'm not too focused and dedicated to watching all of that because it is not technically in the Arrowverse, because it's Earth, I guess, beta, because they're going, like,
I
Prime.
think this one is now Earth 2.
Yeah, this is the new Earth 2 or whatever, because I know, like, the Earth that we're on in like, the current, like, in the Flashverse now, because it's no longer Arrow, because he's done, that's now called Earth Prime, so I don't know if they're gonna still call the others Earth 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not too focused on watching that, at least not until it might cross over if they ever do another multiversal thing, which they're probably not going to.
Honestly, it's actually not a bad show. Like,
yeah,
the first season was rough. I'm like 3/4 of the way through the second season. It's not bad. Like, if you need something to just kind of watch in the background, it's definitely worth throwing on.
It is. I was interested in the first season, but it's just there's other stuff I need to watch right now that I've caught up. But the Legends season was good. It was good. I liked like the fact that, like, pretty much every episode was kind of a Monster of the Week procedural type of thing until the last couple, when you found out, like, what Bishop was actually doing. And like, yeah, and then what's the other? Batwoman. Batwoman was really good. It was probably the better of the three so far.
No, I agree with that. Out of those three, Batwoman was definitely better.
Like, I'm not gonna, like, you turned around and said that Flash was meh. I thought Flash was good, and I probably more so thought that, like, Legends was meh because it was more procedural and Monster of the Week type of stuff.
So I think they were both pretty meh, but also, like, I was watching them way more episodically. Like, I wasn't watching them every week, but I didn't watch them all after the full seasons had finished. So, like you said, like, with the Flash, the way it was broken up and, like, the little arcs were just, the length of the arcs didn't make sense, and, like, while, like, the concepts were good, because of the lengths of them, there was either too much or too little going on with, like, the things they were trying to do. And the same thing with Legends. Like, I didn't dislike the Monster of the Week, but I just I didn't find myself interested in any of it either. Like, some of the episodes were good, like the one with Astra where she was trying to learn magic and turned everybody into, like, inanimate objects. Like, I thought that one was fun, but like, I hated the character exits. I didn't like how Mick exited. and I didn't like how John exited. Not because they exited, just like how they handled those two characters, especially Mick, because like that whole season, it was basically showing that like he was he was the heart of the team. He was the only one like ready to actually go save Sarah. Mm-hmm. And then like it comes down to it, and it's just like the finale is just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go. Like I'm gonna go race these alien kids. Bye.
Mick was bad. John's leaving was. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. It was not needed for John to leave. Matt Ryan is a character in this season that you have not seen yet.
No, I know he is a different character now. That was announced before they even left. Like they announced that John Constantine was leaving, but that they were writing a new character for Matt Ryan to play,
which is stupid. Like I'm not sorry. It's just come on. If you're going to write out a character but have a continuing contract with that actor, don't write out the character. Keep them in that character.
Exactly.
Especially when it's a character like fucking John Constantine. And they could do so much with his new storyline of like him back out from hell and like a new demon has his soul and everything. Like he could do so much being on the Legends. Like have him a recurring character at least. Don't just be like, oh, Matt Ryan's now somebody fucking else.
Yeah,
it's just it was weak writing. Like it was to me that him leaving was fine the way he left if they hadn't brought Matt Ryan back.
Yeah, like, and I think that's kind of what did it. It's like it was such a shitty way to exit the character, knowing that the actor wasn't going anywhere. Because at least like when they did it with what was her name? Amaya? What was that?
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about? She was I can't remember either of her character names. She was the shape-shifting demon the last like 2 seasons that was stuck in that character's form, but she was Vixen before that.
Yeah.
Like hers made sense. She was out of time, like literally, like she was from a different time period, and she had to go back to that time period for her like family line to continue, because like there was a modern day Vixen that was her granddaughter or great granddaughter. Like hers made sense, and then how they brought her back, that actress back in, Charlie, that was the other character's name.
Yeah.
How they brought her back in also made sense with she was a shapeshifter that could like read minds and saw that face in one of their heads and tried to fuck with them with it, and then John cast a curse so that they couldn't change anymore. Like that worked, and like I get that, but yeah, it's just the John exit on this one just felt kind of like half-assed. It's like, yeah, we just don't want to write John Constantine anymore right now, so we're just gonna like have him just be like, yeah, I don't fit in with y'all a lot, so I'm just gonna go do this other thing. That's a really bad British accent. I apologize.
I mean, it was a terrible one, especially when you're trying to be John Constantine. But overall they were fun. They were good, but like to me, Legends was the weakest. And this current season, I'm kind of over their current storyline with Legends. Or at least the storyline that they were doing the first 6 episodes. Like, I'm glad that was finally over, but I'm still, like, I'm not 100% into the storyline right now, even after this most recent episode. And it's kind of the same with, like, Batwoman didn't start to get good, in my opinion, until this most recent episode for this season. And you'll just wait to, like, They tackle some good like top like subjects in this season so far, but when it comes to like the overall story, it was kind of weak up until this most recent episode, which to me kind of blew it out the water a little bit more.
Okay. I am curious to see what you think of Superman and Lois, because I think that was actually the strongest show last year. Yeah. But like it was also the first season, and so I'm curious to see what you think of it when you get to it.
I'm taking a break from watching the CW shows, because I watched a bunch of them all so rapidly. I'm behind on podcasts and stuff because of it. I've still got till January, and then 5 weeks post their first episode before I absolutely have to watch it, and before I lose an episode and not be able to catch up, or watch week to week. So I will probably watch it soon. I plan on watching Arcane this weekend, and maybe the live action Cowboy Bebop, one or both of those this weekend. I haven't decided which one I'm going to watch, but I'm going to watch one or both of them.
Don't forget, Hawkeye started today.
It did. I'll watch that lunchtime on Friday.
There was something else that just... Oh, no, never mind. That is not a thing that you watch. But yeah, Hawkeye, I think the first 2 episodes came out today.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of people saying that it's a really good couple of episodes. So I might, depending on what time I stop stream, I might try to watch one tonight and one in the morning before I stream again. I haven't fully decided yet, but I don't think my dad will have time to watch it before Thanksgiving, so I know we won't be talking it during Thanksgiving, so probably wait until lunchtime on Monday or Friday to watch it, since there's no Critical Role this week.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I finally finished up the Gundam SEED.
Nice.
Just SEED, not SEED Destiny. That's next. Though I'm a little perturbed. So they did remasters of SEED and SEED Destiny a few years ago, like redid the voice acting, like HD remaster, all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only Gundam SEED is available to stream anywhere.
That sucks.
SEED stream in English. SEED Destiny you can only find in like subtitled, and they don't sell the Blu-rays anymore. Like the only Blu-ray sets I could find were $400.
Damn.
Because I guess they're out of print and they just don't make them anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm in the position now, it's like, I'm either going to have to deal with it being subtitled, which I didn't like Gundam SEED Destiny enough that when I originally watched it 20 years ago, that I necessarily want to watch it subtitled where I actually have to pay attention to it. So it's either that or like download it illegally because there's no other way to fucking get it in English.
Mm-hmm.
But Gundam SEED was better than I remembered it being. Like, I watched SEED shortly after it originally came out when you basically had to download all your anime illegally because it just didn't fucking release over here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely, it's way more anime than Gundam tends to be. Like, it's got a lot of just normal anime tropes in it. And it's kind of a retelling of, not a retelling, but like remake's not the right word either. A reimagining of the original Gundam. Like, it's a teenager, ends up getting in the suit when, like, the space colony he lives in attacks. It's a war between 2 different, like, organizations. One of them is the people that live mostly in space. The other one is the people that live mostly on the Earth. They have a big base that kind of looks like a horse and is white. And even, the main Gundam in it is... Obviously, like, in every series, the main Gundam tends to look close to original Gundam, and that's the case in this one, too. But in this one, there are really 2 main characters that pilot Gundams, so that does make it, gives it a little bit of a different edge, and they're, like, long-lost best friends. Like, they were friends, like, childhood best friends, and then they kind of had to move apart, and they don't meet up again until they're on opposing sides of this war.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, like... It was an interesting thing once, like, the first, 15 episodes were rough to get through, but, once it kind of, gets into the plot and things are really moving, it gets much more interesting and there's more interesting character dynamics going on. The one thing I thought was amusing is in all of the intros and closings, there are 2 characters that are in all of them, and, they're usually also in, the intermission stuff between, on either side of commercials. And it's 2 of the female characters that the first one, she's in the very first episode and then doesn't show up again until episode 15. And then the other one is only in 3 episodes before the last 10. But both of them are in every opening sequence as a main character. And it's very weird because it's okay, cool. So this character is going to be around again. They just haven't been around yet. And then it's oh, the last 10 episodes they show back up. That makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise it's very much it's got the same war is bad thing going on. Your main character is what they call a coordinator, where he is a genetically modified human being. So they tend to be smarter and better at things, and they can figure things out faster and do things a little bit more skillfully. And he falls in with the Earth forces, which are just your naturals, the people that aren't modified in any way, as they're in a war against all these other coordinators. And he falls in with them basically to protect his friends who end up as refugees on this ship as their space colony is attacked. Because he is the only person on the Earth side that is capable of piloting the mobile suit. Because it was basically made to be piloted by a coordinator. So he actually, in the first episode, he reprograms the mobile suit like on the fly because it was done so poorly by whoever originally did it. Which was like a normal person did it, but they did a bad job. And then later in the series, he actually helps like a separate faction who is neutral in it develop an OS for these suits that anybody could pilot if they know how to pilot these things, which then makes it more of a like, you know, giving guns to the gunless sort of thing. But by the end of it, it becomes this weird situation where the people that were on opposing sides, but shouldn't have necessarily been, realize that they've all been getting fucked around this whole time by the people in charge of their sides, and actually end up like joining forces, which is kind of neat. Like, you don't have that like big climactic battle where like the main character had to like kill his best friend. Like, they have those battles, they almost do those things, but eventually they do figure out it's like, oh, we both legitimately want the same thing. We just want this war to finish. Neither side actually wants this war to finish, though. They just want to keep escalating it. So let's just finish it our fucking selves. Like, we've got the most powerful suits. Like, we can just stop them. And that's kind of like what they do. They just, they use the more powerful suits because they have all of them at that point and stop everything. So. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's neat. I love Gundam.
Yeah, I mean, Gundam SEED is a good, like, anime Gundam, I feel. Like, it's got its heaviness and its drama, but it also has just a lot of just, like I said, like, it has more of an anime feel than a lot of other Gundam shows I've seen do. Not as much as, like, G Gundam, which is just like a fucking shonen fighting competition. But it still has, like, some of that stuff. And yeah, I'm interested to watch SEED Destiny again, just to see if, like, my opinion on it 20 years later is different than it was originally. Just because I do like SEED more than I did originally.
Yeah.
But we will see. I guess it'll kind of depend if I have to watch it subtitled or if I end up finding it some other way.
I'm sure you'll be able to find it dubbed somewhere.
I know. I've just gotten to the point now where, like, I don't want to have to illegally download it. But
no,
I also absolutely refuse to spend that much money on Blu-rays just because Funimation or whoever owns the rights doesn't want to print the discs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're not going to print the discs, you did the work, you obviously own the rights to the voiceover. If you dubbed it, fucking stream it. Like, you have a streaming platform, put it on your streaming platform. Or sell it on Amazon. Sell it digitally on Amazon.
Right.
Like, you sell your other Blu-rays there, like, just sell it digitally. Like, it's a win-win for everybody. You'll make money off of it, and I don't have to pay some outrageously up-priced third party for Blu-rays.
Yeah.
But who knows? I might jump around a little bit and like maybe watch some of the some of the movies or the like the shorter OVA stuff like 0083 or 0080 or, you know, maybe I'll watch that weird live action movie that happened in between Turn of Gundam and Gundam SEED. But yeah, you know, that's 3 Gundam series down. Like 30 more to go.
Nice. You're almost there. Just like I was almost, at this point I was almost there with Godzilla after 7 weeks last.
Yeah, I mean, look, I will just keep getting closer to it, and at some point, once I get to a point where I just want to watch the UC stuff, I feel like it's going to go a little bit more streamlined because I know almost all of that stuff is available on streaming platforms in English, so I can just kind of like throw it on while I'm working and just have it playing. Because I have seen a lot of those already. Like, I've seen the original Gundam, I've seen half of Zeta Gundam, I've seen 8th MS Team, so, like, I don't have to pay, like, all of the attention, like, because, like, some of that stuff is still there in my brain, I just need a refresher on it.
Yeah.
But anyway, did you guys see the little, old man rant that Ridley Scott had?
I did not.
Let's just bring him back to his retirement home and let him rest. That's what he needs. He just needs some rest. Okay.
So I do not have I don't have like the quote in front of me like 100%, but the gist of it is his new movie, The Last Duel, not doing great in the box office. No one's going to fucking see it. Did you guys know Ridley Scott had a new movie called The Last Duel?
No.
So the screenplay includes names such as Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
And Adam Driver, and hold on, I had it open.
So Adam Driver, Matt Damon star in it, but I meant Ben Affleck and Matt Damon helped write the script for it.
Oh, writing. Sorry, I wasn't paying full attention because I was trying to find the actual quote. But go ahead.
But so, yeah, it's not doing well. So Ridley Scott, in some interview, blamed it on millennials.
Yeah.
He basically, like, the gist of it is he said that it's millennials' fault because we were raised on these cell phones, if I remember correctly how it was worded, and if it's not on the cell phones, we don't care about it.
All right, so he was on WTF, Mark Maron's podcast. This is according to the Hollywood Reporter, and he says to Maron that Disney acquired Fox Studios would undersell the graphic film. He was concerned that Fox would undersell the film because Disney owned it, but then turns around and said Disney did a fantastic promotion job. Did they?
I saw a trailer for this, I think, in front of Shang-Chi.
I don't even remember seeing a trailer in front of Shang-Chi. This is literally the first time I heard about this movie that came out in October 15th, right this week. Because he's complaining that we haven't seen it because it's not on on our phones. And then he continues to say the boss loved the movie. I was concerned it was not for them. And then I think what it boils down to is what we've got today. The audience who are brought up on these fucking cell phones, the millennian, do not ever want to be taught anything unless you're told it on a cell phone. This is broad stroke, but I think we're dealing with it right now with Facebook. This is a misdirection that has happened where it's given the wrong kind of confidence to this latest generation, I think. It's okay, also, Grandpa. You don't understand.
What the fuck are we going to learn from a movie starring fucking Matt Damon?
Hold on.
And that's a joke. Like, I actually like Matt Damon.
What are we going to learn from a movie that stars Matt Damon, which is an adaptation of a book from 2015?
And, I mean, it is based on historical events.
Yeah.
But, like, cool. Like, the movie didn't look good. It's also coming out during a fucking pandemic where, like, people still aren't going to the movies unless it's, like, a big, like, theater draw.
I can't even agree with one of the things you said in that statement. It didn't look good, because I've never seen a fucking trailer for it. Like, if you're so concerned that we're all in our cell phones and that we're not seeing this movie because it's not on my cell phone, where's your fucking trailer? Why did I not see a trailer for it on anything that I watch?
Well, and here's the other problem. I don't get commercials. Like, I pay for Hulu without ads, and we really don't watch live TV. Like, we watch everything on DVR, so I fucking fast forward through all the commercials. Yeah. I don't see trailers on the TV. If the marketing isn't online where, like, it would pop up somewhere or in front of an actual fucking movie, I'm not seeing it. And, like, that's nobody's fault but, like, marketing companies.
And like, the last movie I saw was Shang-Chi. I believe the last movie I saw in theaters was Shang-Chi. And I didn't see a trailer for it. I didn't see IGN share a trailer about it when it was coming out. I didn't, like, you'd think, although this is a historical, like, true story, this kind of seems like something that movie people would share about, and IGN is full of some movie people. Like, they would have shared something about it, or some of those sites. Like, it's just, you say it got great press, but as far as I can tell, in the media age where we're all on our cell phones and when we all have subscriptions, to not see trailers, I didn't see a fucking thing about this movie.
And I think that's the thing. If it got great press, then we would have seen it because, like, I read a lot of websites. Like, I read about things on websites. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts that talk about these things. Nobody was talking about this movie. I saw a trailer. I believe it was in front of Shang-Chi. Might not have been. May have been in front of something else. I honestly don't remember. I did see a trailer. Didn't think it looked interesting. Like, I had that, like, moment of, like, oh, it's got Matt Damon and Adam Driver. And then I'm like, oh, this looks fucking boring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's like Ridley Scott has made 2 movies I think. I'm actually going back to look at his filmography just to see if there's anything else. Alien and Blade Runner. Those were the 2 I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
People love Gladiator. Never saw it. Actually, Matchstick Men was pretty good. Robin Hood was fucking garbage. Maybe why people didn't go see it, because the last time he did this weird period piece based in, like, a similar setting, it was fucking hot garbage. Prometheus was bad. Actually, The Martian was alright. I didn't hate that. The book was better. Never saw Alien Covenant. House of Gucci looks like it could be alright. The dude really likes Adam Driver, I guess, because that's 2 back-to-back movies with Adam Driver.
Like, here's also, like, I watch Hot Ones. Everyone watches Hot Ones.
I've never heard of Hot Ones.
How have you never heard of Hot One?
The show where people eat wings and get interviewed.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. I know Hot Pepper Gaming.
Hot Ones is actually really good. Like, the interviews are usually actually pretty good interviews. Plus, then it's funny them eating the wings.
Yeah.
I believe you. I've never heard of this.
It's a weekly show. They're on season 16 because they break it up to 2 seasons a year. And for season 16, which started September 26th, Jimmy Kimmel, Derek Lewis, John Bernthal, MTS, and CL, who I can't remember who those two are, Mila Kunis, and then here we go. Here's Disney with their great advertising. Selma Hayek from The Eternals and Jeremy Renner from fucking Hawkeye.
Because those are the things that are going to make them money, not their weird little, so who actually is so I realize, like, Disney is putting it out, but, like, who is actually, like, what imprint of, okay, so it's the 20th Century Studios. So I wonder if this was in production as a Fox thing and Disney was just like, all right.
That's what the interview made it seem like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like on just, like, the production timeline, too. This definitely started as a Fox product and Disney just inherited it.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one more thing, which I'd have to rewatch because I can't remember. Matt Damon was on it in August 5th, and I don't remember if he was promoting the movie at that point or not. That's how non-memorable this movie was.
I feel like Matt Damon has had other stuff recently, too. I might be wrong, but I feel like he's had other stuff. I'm looking at his filmography right now. 2021. Yeah, so he had the movie No Sudden Move, Stillwater, and The Last Duel come out this year.
Yeah, so he was on August 5th, 2021, which, according to the wiki, the movie released in the Venice Film Festival, September 10th. So they filmed this probably while he was still doing some sort of press for this movie, and I don't think he mentioned it at all.
Yeah, because so both of his movies, Stillwater and No Sudden Moves, came out in July in the United States. So that those two would line up perfectly for him to be on this this interview thing.
Yeah.
And probably didn't talk about The Last Duel because he had 2 other movies that had literally just come out.
Yeah, and this thing was Stillwater, which is what he was promoting on this. But yeah, Matt Damon was on Hot Ones. Like, Cobb, you're like an anomaly, and the only person I've ever heard of who hasn't heard of Hot Ones.
I don't watch YouTube. Like, I'm not 12. I literally don't watch YouTube at all.
But, like, that is such a big show that if you really want to get good press, get an actor on there. I'm sure Adam Driver would be great on Hot Ones. I believe Ben Affleck was on Hot Ones once.
Probably.
I mean, from the sound of it, like, you're probably right. Like, and I'm sure if I actually went onto YouTube and, like, searched for stuff, it would happen. But, like, my YouTubing is basically, like, clicking on my subscription tab and then swiping over to the channel I want to watch a thing for and clicking on that. So, like, if I'm not subscribed to it already, I'll never fucking see it.
But it's just like, it makes me so mad that he wants to blame the millennials on their cell phones and not the fact that you, probably made a bad movie, that we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and that maybe the people who would want to go see your movie, your target audience, are the morons who aren't going to get vaccinated and therefore, in a good portion of the country, I believe, can't actually go to a fucking movie theater.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that.
And let's be real, like, he hasn't... So, his last decent movie that he directed was The Martian in 2015. He then did Alien Covenant, which I don't remember people liking very much. I know people were lukewarm on Prometheus. I hated Prometheus. Never even bothered watching Alien Covenant.
Yeah.
I've never heard of All the Money in the World that he did after that in 2017. But, like, before that, he did Exodus, Gods and Monsters, which was a fucking garbage movie.
Oh, God.
The Counselor, which I've never heard of. Prometheus. The garbage fucking Robin Hood movie with Russell Crowe.
I didn't think that was garbage. I thought that was good.
I feel like the general reaction on that is it was super shit.
Like, I think his last legitimately, like, universally praised movie was American Gangster in 2007. I never saw it, but I think that was, like, his last, like, everyone that likes those sort of movies liked that movie. I mean, everything else he did is sort of like,
The Martian was pretty highly regarded, but...
It was. Like, The Martian was, like, one of the best movies of that year.
I'm sorry. I meant since The Martian. So, like, he went from 2007 to 2015 with a whole lot of mediocre to bad movies, then had The Martian, and then had more mediocre to bad movies.
And Robin Hood was mediocre to bad. 6.6 IMDb, 43 on Rotten Tomatoes, and
43 is terrible.
Look, I hate that a 43 is terrible. I say 43 should be considered mediocre because that's halfway. But that's your choice. That's your a 6.6 out of 10. That's halfway. That's mediocre. Like
it's below 50% on the Rotten Tomatoes scale. It's rotten.
I know that, but the idea of being below 50% means it's bad and not mediocre because 50% is halfway. So you halfway got there, but not all the way. You still that's American grading system issues right there. Like,
I mean, if you get a 50 on a test, you failed.
Only in America.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
And
that's 50 on a test, you failed.
That's the problem with that. Like, you still got half of it right. Like,
but half isn't good enough.
That's American grading problem.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that. That's an American grading problem. I feel like half is not good.
Half is not. No, you're right. Half is not good, but half isn't. Nothing. Half is you need to do work. Half should not be a failure. Half should not be it is the worst thing ever. There should not be from 1 to 50. You suck and you're not going to pass. And then from 60 to 70, or from 51 to 60, actually, that's American grading scale. 1 to 60, you suck and will not pass. But then 60 to 100, you're gonna pass. But 60 to 70, you're doing okay, but you really need to do work. Like, it's a issue in American grading system that I've always had a big fucking problem with. Why is there such a large area of you fucking fail when you still know half or a little bit more than half of what you were supposed to know?
Well, you spend 8 hours a day at that place, you should know more than half of it.
You spend 8 hours a day at that place learning 8 different fucking subjects.
Maybe you just need to learn better. You need to get good, man.
Look, it's a legitimate argument that some people just don't test.
I don't disagree with you. Like, 100-point scales are stupid. No one should use a 100-point scale.
No.
5 points. That's all you need. You need 5.
Yeah.
1 through 5. A 3 is mediocre. Anything below a 3 is bad. Anything above a 3 is fine.
Exactly.
But I mean, to that point, like, anything below 50 is bad out of 100. Like, you just extrapolate, like, it's...
But when you have 100 points, there's so much more nuance to it.
Sure.
Because, like, why is like Richie said, why is that 10 points between a 50 and a 60 make that big of a difference when it comes to grading something? Whereas, like, 3 to 4, when you only go up to 5, it's like, okay, no, that's a legitimate thing. And, like, unfortunately, like, that argument can be made for any sort of ranking system. Like, whether you do full points, half points, a 100 point, 20 point, whatever.
But, like, Rotten Tomatoes is a 43%. So anything under 50 is bad. But that's only 7 points under 50. Like, it's mediocre.
But
because 50 is mediocre.
Yeah.
So why is 50 mediocre, but 7 points under 50 bad? Why isn't, like, 40 to 60 mediocre?
Well,
because, there's, like, it's, if you break it down on the 5-point scale, 1 to 20, 21 to 40, 41 to 60, 61 to 80, 81 to 100. 5-point scale. 41 to 60, mediocre.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And, like, to be fair, if you actually go look at, like IGN or GameSpot or any of them, a 5. Like, so I'm literally looking at GameSpot's review scale. They do 1 to 10. They don't do half points anymore. 5 is mediocre. That's what they call 5. So it's 10 is essential, 9 is superb, 8 is great, 7 is good, 6 is fair, 5 is mediocre, 4 is poor, 3 is bad, 2 is terrible, 1 is abysmal. Most places that put scores on things, middle of the road is considered mediocre. Why do you want to spend your money on mediocre? That's sort of the question. It's like,
yeah,
anything a 5 or below, anything mediocre or worse is bad. Is basically the way that things get looked at. It's like, I'm not going to spend money on something that's mediocre. I'm also not going to spend money on something that's abysmal. So, like, they kind of all get lumped together. Anything above that 50 though, and you're looking at it, it's like, well, like they think it's like fine, and like maybe I'll think it's like a little bit better than fine. Like it's stupid. I don't disagree, but that's sort of the mentality.
But I like when it comes to me, midpoint gradings, that's a do your own research kind of thing. Like, is it bad because it's bad, or is it bad because people didn't like it?
But I mean, that's argument. The thing too. Like,
that's ratings in general. Like, ratings are entirely subjective. They are not an objective thing.
And reading any review that has a rating, that is you doing your research. Because, like, you can't research something to see if you're going to like it without just plopping down the money and seeing if you like it. And, like, that actually defeats the purpose of reviews. Now, if you're just going to one place, reading one review, they give it a bad review, and then you're like, well, fuck this thing, then, like, yes, that's different. Like, I want to say it was IGN reviewed Hawkeye as, like, a 5. Like, the whole season, they gave it a 5, and they basically said, like, it's fine, but it's not great. Whereas, like, 3 other outlets I saw, including GameSpot, gave it 7s or better. And basically, like, didn't have any of the problems with it that the person that reviewed it at, I think it was IGN, had. I might be, like, swapping GameSpot and IGN. But, like, yeah, like, if I had just gone with that one review and said, oh, shit, so this is bad because of all these reasons they said, and not seen anyone else's score, then it's like, okay, yeah, that's just me taking somebody else's opinion for it. But if I saw every site out there was giving it 5s or worse, it's like, oh, that sucks. And had it been something that was like a movie that I was going to go pay money to see, maybe I wouldn't do that. But, like, since I already have the subscription, like, there's no reason to not just watch it and see if it's any good. If the first 2 episodes are garbage, I'll just stop watching it. But yeah, the whole Ridley Scott thing, like his view on it when he just made a bad movie is just outrageously stupid. Like, it's old man yelling at the sky.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to make good movies anymore.
I argue he really has never known how to make good movies. He's just gotten lucky a few times in 40 years.
I mean, I won't counter argue that. There's only a handful of Ridley Scott movies I've actually seen, so I can't counter argue that.
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about the book? Fucking words. Do you guys want to talk about the book club?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right. So, we listened to the Giant Beastcast episodes 84, 134, and 136. Mm-hmm. Drew, you and I have both listened to these previously. Mm-hmm. Rich, what did you think?
So, full disclosure about the first one, what was it, 83, whatever?
84.
84. I was in the midst of texting Druten about D&D character ideas while I was listening to it. And so I might not have focused too much on it.
Wait, do you now have a D&D character called Hard Markinson?
No. Oh, God. All right, I'm naming... That's my name for that character.
Actually, that works for one of those characters.
Or we could be Lincoln Ghost and...
no.
And Christopher Ghost?
Christopher Ghost.
No.
Or
no,
Louis... Wait, Louis Gridlock. That is also a stellar name.
Gridlock doesn't really work in D&D and fantasy. I do like Hard Markinson.
Hard Markinson is a good name.
That is a really good one. So, we'll tangent real quick. Druten was talking to me about our home campaign, because he's potentially going to be making a new character soon, as is a few of them. And, what were you saying initially? A fighter?
Yeah.
And so I started looking at fighters a little bit and looking at the new rule sets from Tasha's, and I saw that they have an unarmed fighting style where grappling, like, you do damage if you have them grappled and stuff. And I immediately went, Druten, you need to make a professional wrestler using these skill sets. And it all works.
And you know what? Hard Markinson, 100% is a good name for that sort of character.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So we at least have one of the characters' names, because now the idea is...
We're going to be a tag team.
We're going to be a tag team duo in the home game that we have with Eric.
Yeah.
When we eventually start new characters in that game. Nice. Yeah. And while I was listening to it, I was also, like, workshopping that with Druten, so, like, I was listening and I was paying attention, but when it comes to, like, actually doing reading while listening to podcast, it's one or the other. Like, it's either one at 100% or the other at 100%. And so I was, like, really into making these characters. So I might have missed out on some of the jokes or some of the comedy. Like, I did still listen, and I did enjoy it. I'm not going to say it was bad, but it wasn't, like, I wasn't like rolling on the floor laughing or anything.
So
But it more so, it made me super interested in the game system.
yeah, so that system was Follow Me or something like that. I wrote it down. Let me open up my note real quick. And I think one sort of like handicap, I guess we could say you would have had. Follow, I believe, is what it was called. One handicap that you would have had is this game, just like the ones after it, was a follow-up to the first year they did it. So their first year in 2015, they played Fiasco. And they all used the same characters. And the whole thing happened at LaGuardia Airport, where Lincoln Ghost and Hard Markinson were, if I remember correctly, trying to smuggle cocaine through the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Yes.
a bunch of other characters, like all the other characters were involved in it in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So as they explained at the beginning of episode 84, in this game, it's, shortly thereafter or maybe a year later. It seems like they didn't really have a definitive, set time for that one, but they're all kind of back in New York and they've been hired or whatever to do a heist. And they're going to steal the original New Year's ball that apparently is encrusted with diamonds. And it's just, that whole system is basically like, it's a system for telling a story in a cinematic scope, which I thought that was really cool because there were no dice rolls. There was no real rule system. It was really just like, all right, do we think we did good? And everyone kind of like blind votes on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, if everyone agrees that it went well, you succeed, you move on to like your next scene.
Yeah. I really was like super into that like game system, and it's like made me think of like, maybe we can do like bonus episodes of bonus action, like bonus action, where maybe we play that. Or if like there's ever in it, like we'd have to find the game system. One of us would have to read up on the rules and fully understand it. But like it really was a cool, neat system. Whereas just like create a story and let's see how it goes based on how you explain it and what you feel about how things had happened.
And Fiasco, the one they did the year before, was similar. Like there was no dice to that system either. And so part of the reason I picked 84 was because episode 84, the 2016 holiday show, sets up the 2017. Because you had at the end of that one, Dufresne has been resurrected as a cyborg. Yeah. In the final moments. So that sets up the next year, where in 134 they are now in a post-apocalyptic semi-near future where New York is now under rule by Cyborg Dufresne, and they have to, these same guys have to stop him, along with Dan Reichert, who didn't come up with a better name for himself, so just named himself, and is basically playing himself.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked that Apocalypse system, or at least the way they ran it, because they kind of ran it as like a combination between how it originally was, or the game they played before Fiasco, right? And the game Follow, the game they played on 84, and then the system that they were playing on 134 and 136. And they
which
even
is Apocalypse World. Yeah,
Apocalypse World. Like, they explain it a little bit at the end of 136. That he's like, this was like a truncated version, because, like, it's more like dice roll and experience based type of game than like Follow was.
Yeah, but Austin modified things so that it would be easier for the guys who weren't familiar with those systems to be able to kind of like go along with it. Like, and I don't know if you caught at the end of 136 when they were kind of just like wrapping up. Dan was actually very kind of surprised to find out that like Austin was just kind of fucking making shit up as he went.
Yeah.
And like when they were suggesting things, Austin was just coming up with responses on the fly. Like, he thought a lot of that stuff was like pre-planned or something. He had no idea that like when he wanted to go talk to the train snakes, Austin had to just fucking figure that shit out and what would happen based on what they were rolling and what they were asking to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And that shows true capabilities of being able to improvise. And like it's the truest form of being a DM of like, well, let's just throw out everything I just wrote. Because he even said, like, once you guys started focusing on the train snakes, I had nothing for that. So I kind of just went with it and was glad we had to break it up because I needed to figure things out. And and like when they reintroduced themselves in 136, he's like, I threw away everything I wrote and I'm gonna just see what I can do to push the story forward with what you guys give me.
Yeah, and so those 2 episodes came out a couple weeks apart. So 134 released between Christmas and New Year in 2016 or 2017.
2017.
And then 136 came out a couple of weeks into January of 2018. It was the CES week that it came out. So they filmed it within like 2 weeks of each other, 2 or 3 weeks of each other. So there was definitely like enough time in there for Austin to like come up with some ideas based on like how they were playing, which like definitely probably helped him out. I'm sure the same way it helps you out, like with bonus action or like any of your other games where like playing for a few hours and then coming back, a month later, you've had time to be like, all right, well, this is how these guys are playing. So let me try and like prepare things in this direction a little heavier because this seems to be where they're leaning.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There have been sessions where we have ended that I sat there after the session, like not with bonus action yet, but with the home game, where I sat there after the session and we all wrapped up and we're closed on Roll20 or we're home, and I sit down and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing next? And it's just because where the session ended, it was just left open-ended, so I would have to, like, create my docs of, like, well, if they go here, here's what could happen. If they go there, that's what could happen. If they go there, and, like, just kind of try to, like, foresee every possible option, but not flesh it out fully. Just have base ideas, and then kind of just roll with it. So, like, I've like, adapted my world building to work with the potential of them going somewhere that I wasn't expecting by having events, basically every location in my world has some sort of running storyline in it that they could explore and investigate. This way, if they go somewhere I wasn't expecting, it's like, all right, well, there's this little stuff here. I'll hint you towards that so we can do that so that I can prepare the next session for where you're actually going.
Yeah, which, like, makes sense. And, like, so just, because you probably aren't aware of this, Austin, who is, like, DMing these, for lack of a better word, because I know he wasn't necessarily a DM in any of them. He hosts another show called Friends at the Table where he does DM, like in or whatever role that falls into for whatever game system they are playing in a given campaign.
I don't know what they're doing for the new one, but I know in prior campaign they mostly used Apocalypse World, but then also they would do different things depending on what exactly was going on, because I think like the space combat, he made or found a different system or bits and pieced together parts of other systems to make that work.
Okay. But on top of that, he is also working as a narrative world builder for a game studio who I have completely forgotten the name of, and I'm trying to look it up now. And I just realized his Twitter has an underscore in it, so let's try that again. So he is IP director at Possibility Space, which is a game developer that was spun off from another bigger one. And, like, he is basically in charge of developing, like, worlds for different intellectual properties that they have. So, like, that's kind of his bread and butter, is, like, coming up with just, like, crazy bullshit, essentially.
Yeah.
And, like, he does a really good job, in my opinion, in these episodes, like, working kind of, like, you know, it's short notice, for lack of a better term, because, like, they are kind of, like, it's not like an ongoing campaign. It's essentially a one-shot every time. They usually try to use the same characters and kind of make it like a continuation up to a certain point. But also, like, different people come in and out of it. Like, Dan wasn't on anything before that. I think this might have been his only one, because I don't think he was on the following year. I think Abby was on the next one, but Dan wasn't, if I remember correctly.
Sounds right.
And I know, like, Pat isn't on it, I think, this past year. I forget when his last one was. But, you know, like, they kind of, like, come and go from there. So he's always kind of working with, like, a different amount of people, and they're always playing, like, a different rule set to, like, keep it fresh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were good. They were entertaining. Like I said, there wasn't really any major points where I was, like, falling on the floor laughing, but it was, like, there were some times where I was, like, doing that, like, in my head, inner monologue of, like, that's good, that's a good one, or that's funny type of stuff. Like, it was, yeah, these got me really interested in these game systems, which is, like, I want to explore, at least Follow more. Not as much Apocalypse World, but Follow, I want to explore that a little bit more, and maybe try to do something with that at some point. And as we're talking about it, my head goes, maybe we can do a bonus action Brose crossover where some of the guys from Brose, which we've already got 2 of the guys from Brose, some of the guys from bonus action play Follow and try to do a theatrical thing or something like that. But I'd have to get the system and read it up and figure it out and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're not, like, super hard to figure out, but, like, definitely, like, you definitely want to have at least a mild understanding before you, like, dive into them too hard.
Yeah. But yeah, it was an entertaining set of podcasts.
I do like the names of the stats in Apocalypse World.
Oh, like you're weird and stuff like that?
Yeah. Weird, cool, hot. Like, I need you to make a hot roll.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Dan didn't lean harder into the cool roll stuff, because that just, like, his entire everything is all about cool guy stuff in movies, cool action guy stuff, and, like, that was basically the character he was playing. And, like, I appreciate that, like, he's just not great at the improv stuff and was not good at coming up with, like, funny one-liners and things. Because, like Dan can be incredibly funny, but it's usually, like, something just over-the-top ridiculous that he says.
Yes.
Like, when it's on the spot, like, and he's trying to, like, come up with the cool thing to say, it never seems to work out.
No.
It's like one of the funniest things is the video from the Wii Mario Party where it's the pump it up, or the shake up the soda can game.
Uh-huh.
And he's just sitting there and it just looks like he is just furiously masturbating the whole time.
Yep.
Because of the way you have to shake it and, like, the look on his face and how he's, like, leaned over and everything.
Are you telling me when you play that game, or when you played that game in the past, you didn't look like you were furiously masturbating?
I never played it, so I can't say yes or no. But there were 3 other people also doing it that did, while they looked fucking goofy, like, he looked like he was intense. Like, he looked like he was there to get business done and move the fuck on. But Drew, anything like, we both listened to him before, like, anything that, like, you caught this time that you want to call out or mention or whatnot?
Not that I can think of.
That's fair.
It's all great. Austin is a great storyteller. They're all funny.
Yeah, I did really like when Pat's character was at the Empire State Building and was talking to the AI, like, tour guide thing.
Uh-huh.
And, like, Austin's literally just reading a fucking Wikipedia page about the epic.
Yeah.
And, like, Pat literally just goes, oh, well, that sounds like a Wikipedia entry, and it's, like, super useful, but... And then, like, Austin's voice just gets higher and higher as he's doing it, to the point where he's like, and now I'm becoming Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, just stupid shit like that. The fact that he used that entire section to pull Flitz back into it.
Yeah.
From the previous year. Yeah, that stuff was fun. I do enjoy those. I mentioned it before, but I really do hope that they find a way to do something with Nextlander and Austin for that. Like, assuming that Austin has, like, the bandwidth for it.
I would not be shocked if he does.
Well, like, he is still doing multiple podcasts.
Yes.
That's why I'm wondering, like, if he has the bandwidth, because, like, he's been on Waypoint Radio a few times since leaving too. For just, like, small segments of, like, talking about, like, specific things. Mm-hmm. But, like, he also does a Clone Wars podcast that releases every other week. And he's wrapping up the Gundam podcast. Like, he's not going to be on the Gundam SEED part of it. And then he also does Friends at the Table every week. So, like, the dude records a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it would be a little weirder. Like, timing might be weirder for that one because Brad being on the West Coast. Like...
That's
Who knows
true.
when they were recording that stuff, but, like, fitting in a guy on the West Coast just might make it a little more complicated. But either way, I do hope they do something this year. Rich, if you're interested in seeing, like, how it started or where it went, let me know. I can always send you the links to the other ones, because they're hard to find if you don't know what to look for. But because I'm subscribed to the Beastcast feed still, it's pretty easy to just look at every 52 episodes. Because
true.
It's basically like, once you find the first one, it's every 52 weeks because they never missed a week.
Yeah. Makes sense. when you were talking about the Wikipedia stuff with the computer in the Empire State Building, it made me think of Geek and Sundry had a show. It was We're Alive: The Frontier. They were playing the Outbreak Undead game system, and it was in not modern day, but it was in the United States. It was situated in the United States, and so there was at one point I think they were raiding like a city, and so they were just using a Google Maps display to explain like here's how the city looks, or here's how it looks on Google Maps, and then he explains like what's different, because I think they were like attacking a prison or something, and so they were just using Google Maps to show the prison. I was like, that's cool. That's dumb, but that's cool.
Yeah, that is both dumb and cool. So I guess, Drew, did you end up having anything for next time?
Well, after the conversation in the text chat and thinking about timing, I feel like maybe we should go with the thing that you said and save Richie's idea for the other one in December.
Okay.
Unless you have another holiday themed thing and we could do all holiday stuff for December.
I do not. But I mean, hey, that thing I mentioned to you is a party.
It is a party. It is a party, if you will. Let's do it. Let's watch fucking Mario Party 5. 5, right? That's the live one?
I think so.
I'm 99% sure.
Let's find out. We should have done this ahead of time, but whoops. Man, I just tried to Google Mario Party 5. That was a stupid move. GiantBomb.com. Yeah, we're gonna keep it going with more Giant Bomb stuff. It is 5.
Yep. I googled Mario Party 5 and it was the second thing that comes up.
Okay, we've been over this before. My default search engine is Bing because I want the fucking points.
Fair.
Now, is this a premium?
All Mario Party things are premium.
Okay. So, Rich, they do a free trial for this. I will send you a link for the free trial. I think it's a 30-day free trial.
Okay.
It might only be 7 days, but this is it's about a 4-hour video. They are playing whatever the 5th Mario Party game that released was. Looks like it's on GameCube.
Yes, it was a GameCube.
This was live at a PAX. I want to say it was a PAX West.
Yes.
So the 4 guys are on stage. One of them is Dan, who was just on episodes 136 and 137 of the Beastcast. Mm-hmm. One of them, are you familiar with the blinking white guy meme?
Yes.
Drew is the blinking white guy.
Yeah, so you'll see the blinking white guy on the stage. And there's a crowd there cheering and booing as bullshit happens in Mario Party.
Okay.
It is possibly one of the greatest underdog stories of all time, right up there with Rudy.
I mean, it's Mario Party, so yeah, that's absolutely 100% believable.
But yeah, so I will. The video quality might not be 100% great, and I think I remember the sound being just not bad, but it's a live thing, so people do cheer, and you may have trouble hearing the guys at some spots, but it doesn't hurt anything.
No.
And for a lot of it, half the screen is taken up by the actual Mario Party game. But yeah, so I will. So for anybody listening, not just for Richie, I'm gonna throw the link for the premium trial into the show notes, as well as the link to Mario Party 5. And we will be talking about that on December 9th. Will be that episode. It looks like, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We will record on the 8th. It will release on the 9th. And then, Rich, you picked a holiday. We're not going to disclose it yet, but you picked a holiday thing that we would talk about 2 weeks later, which would actually release right before Christmas on the 23rd.
Yes.
So that actually works out perfectly.
I wasn't sure. I didn't realize that you had mentioned the Mario Party, but I was kind of hoping that you would have just thrown it to me for the next 2 suggestions, because I almost said for this week we would watch Jingle All the Way.
Is that available anywhere?
It is available on Hulu.
Really? Huh.
Yes. That is the cult classic Jingle All the Way.
Oh, we didn't want to do Jingle All the Way 2 with Larry the Cable Guy?
Oh, God.
I mean, maybe we can.
I mean,
have any of us seen Jingle All the Way 2?
I have never seen Jingle All the Way 2.
It is on Disney Plus.
It's on Disney Plus.
I think Jingle All the Way was on Disney Plus and not Hulu. I think it was the Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Jingle All the Way is on both Hulu and Disney Plus because
Okay.
they're the same. The Santa Claus is on Disney.
Well, how about this?
No,
How
we're
about
watching
this?
Mario Party fuck Jingle
No.
All the Way too, but just saying.
No, yeah. So, book club, let's do Mario Party for, like I said, the 9th.
Uh-huh.
Do you think between now and the 15th, our middle of the month recording in December, you guys would be able to watch Jingle All the Way too?
Maybe. Like,
I will watch
well,
both.
shit.
I'll watch both Jingle All the
like,
Way and
it's-
Jingle All the Way too.
It's 3 weeks from now. It's like 2 hours that you need to have free.
Well, here's the thing about that show on the 15th. That's right after PAX. How much extra time in that show are we going to have?
It's Jingle All the Way too. Well,
Yeah. So
Fair.
I'm not
Fair.
suggesting this as a book club thing. I'm just suggesting maybe on the 15th, if we all happen to watch Jingle All the Way too, we will spend, 15 minutes talking about what a shit show it was.
hold on. You think we need 15 minutes? I think we're gonna need 2 minutes.
I don't know, man. Sometimes you get on these fucking tangents about grades and shit like that, and
It's true.
what could have been 5 minutes ends up being like 20 minutes, so
Look,
anything's possible.
here's the thing. Besides the fact that he's probably a Republican, Larry the Cable Guy isn't going to get me as heated as Ridley Scott did, and that's why I was going on those rants, because Ridley Scott got.
So, actually, I think Larry the Cable Guy is super progressive.
Yeah, I think, like,
Really?
Larry the Cable Guy is a character.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, just going to throw it out there, Jingle All the Way too, 30% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It doesn't have any review score. There are 0, legitimate review sources on Rotten Tomatoes for Jingle All the Way too. So, yeah, if you guys have however long this movie is, 2 hours. Oh, it's a 93-minute movie. We can totally fucking talk about this the week at the week
All
at
right.
PAX.
all right, we'll do it.
Okay. So there you have it. So in 2 weeks, we are talking about Mario Party 5. Check the show notes for the links to that. The week after, we're going to have just a little mini club where we talk about Jingle All the Way too.
And then the week after that, we'll have a special Christmas edition of the book club that we'll talk about in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Now, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
Not at all.
No. I think that's it.
All right. Well, I guess in that case, we will start getting wrapped up as I type the time in. If you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. Rate us, review us, subscribe. All those things help a whole bunch. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Twitter and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. Have a good Thanksgiving if you're in the U.S. That's tomorrow. That's when this will go up. Friday, if you're a Patreon supporter at the $5 tier or above, you will get the next episode of Bonus Action, which should be the last one with bad audio, because that will be the last episode for our very first session. After that will be to everyone having a good microphone. And then that episode will go live for everybody this coming Monday.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll be back next week with some more to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.